Hello, and welcome to the Dahlia World Gardens presentation of Seattle at Dawn, a Mage the Ascension Chronicle. I am our storyteller, Tim Dahlia. Thank you for joining us. If you like this show and you want to see more, you can always catch our magical shenanigans on our YouTube playlist. And while you're here, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, do all the great things that helps us out. And today, we're going to be bringing you a special solo session as part of our prologue to Book VIII of Seattle at Dawn. Today, we will further explore the life of Operative Vesper Watts, played by our friend, Wim. Introduce yourself to the masses, Wim.
I'm Wim. I go by he, him, and as mentioned, I'll be playing Vesper Watts. See you, operative. Just finish that mission. Should be good to go.
Should be good to go, exactly. All right. Well, in the aftermath of the church cleanup, or the Home Hill Church cleanup, you had let the reality deviants, the tradition-aligned mages, move on without any further interaction with you or the Technocratic Union. But a cleanup crew came for Ned Calhoun and his followers. What's Vesper thinking and or planning at this point?
Definitely going through several scenarios in their head of, okay, I let them go, but that should be fine if I just convince them that this was a bigger threat, that either I couldn't stop them or I have them on like a leash thing and like they'll be useful in the future, and just trying to debate which way they should go. And I think they're leaning towards using them as a resource and trying to convince them of that.
Okay. So planning for the debriefing. How are you going to present? How do you plan on presenting?
Just in the usual awkward fashion of like, hey, here is the owl man. It was like spirit magic. Here were ones that were followed by. I didn't get much of an explanation on what they did. Like these ones, I think are controlled by him. Those are like also controlled but can turn into owls. Um, yeah, spirit magic voodoo. It's not my wheelhouse. Y'all got it from there, right?
Absolutely, possibly. Dimensional science is a wild thing. Okay, so I'd say you don't have a lot of hands-on with the cleanup crew. That's not really your specialty. It's not where you need to be at this point. But the following day, things have calmed down. Media alerts are gone out, and you have been summoned to Construct Gray specifically for a meeting. This meeting, well, let's see. Yeah, so it's called by Agent Lewis, who is your handler, or supervisor. Supervisor of this arm of the NWO. And as such, they bring you into the conference room.
Conference rooms.
What's that?
I said, conference rooms.
Yeah,
The
conference
potential
rooms.
of multiple people presenting.
There is definitely that. In the room, when you enter, is Agent Lewis themselves. Always looking a little bit plasticky. Not quite fully human, but close enough that, you know, when they're in their mirror shades and out in the field, many people don't question it. Also, in the room is another man who you do not recognize, but they are wearing a very expensive looking suit, and they have kind of this Wish.com Hugh Jackman look, you know?
Yeah, I was thinking that, but I was like, maybe it's just coincidental.
It's coincidental, but I went with it. Leaned into it. Also sitting in the room is two people you do recognize. You recognize your friend Nala. Um, I believe I set the last name for her as Masood, but so there's Nala, and there's also your tech person, Gadget. She's there as well. Uh, Coming in, there are holographic projectors um, in the ceiling, and they are filling out two more seats. One is clearly a older, I don't want to say older, it's more of a middle-aged woman. She appears to be dressed well, and for the as best as the hologram's going to tell you. And in the final holographic projection is nearly a strange, almost a mere copy of Agent Lewis projecting in from somewhere else.
Oh boy.
Oh boy, indeed. So, in this room, you've got good old Agent Lewis in the front here at the top, and clearly this is their meeting. They're running the show. It's also their office building, or their office in this building. When you enter, you're like I said, they're already there. They mentioned for you to take a seat, and Agent Lewis gets started right away. He's like, Operative Watts, please take a seat.
Yeah, I said as close to Nala as possible. Of like, this is someone that I know and know very well, and I would like to not be near the people I don't know.
Well, the seat you're offered is next to her and is pretty close to the top of the table, head of the table.
That's fine. That'll do.
Mm-hmm. All right. It looks like everybody's here. Thank you all for attending this debrief. It looks like we have some heightened interest from my fellow supervisors, Mr. Brannigan, Miss Burnvox, and Agent Quinn. Have their own questions about this operation, Operation Home Guard Hunt.
Have we come up with a cool name for it already? Not really making strides.
Sure.
Um,
If that's how you feel.
what are the questions?
Well, the goal of the operation for the room was to investigate the PDEs known as the Alshards and their human hosts. Apparently, a Ned Calhoun and his alt-right organization, the Home Guard Solution. Tangential to that, we needed intel on a group of Tamerds calling themselves the Night Hunters. In the course of the investigation, we saw an opportunity to corner and capture Ned Calhoun with the aid of these Night Hunters. We sent in Operative Watts as our liaison. Operative Watts, I allow you, you are here to present your report for the record.
Yeah, they're Watts is just constantly like shifting back and forth like this in the chair of like, I'm definitely doing great. Um, yeah, so went to their commune or whatever. Um, Terrifying, but uh, got their help. Went investigated something. It just blew up. Didn't really get much from it. Then went to a church. There was the owl guy there. We had to solve like some weird puzzle, some yeah, to get through it. Um, yeah, then he turned into an owl. Incapacitated him, and that was it. Then while I was rounding up all the owl shards, the night hunters, as I think you said they call themselves, left, but I still have ways to contact them because I think they'll be a good resource in the future. I just also wasn't really able to like hold them down while still holding Ned down and everything. Just kind of like between one and the other, figured the main objective is more important.
Mr. Brannigan raises his hand. He's like, well, okay, you say this went smoothly, but have you seen how much this has cost us? We have operatives out there cleaning up a mess that I don't see, at least I didn't hear in this report about the bar. There was a
That was the
bar
place
that
that blew up.
exploded.
That was the one
That
that blew
exploded.
up. Yeah,
That exploded.
we looked, we went in, looked for signs of it because that was like a place that they might have owned or something. Went in, opened the door, bomb. That was just that wasn't even like, it wasn't like a fight or anything. Wasn't anything really under control. Just kind of one of them went, opened the door, blew up.
Okay. All right, operative. Um, I guess I mean I don't know if I need to inform you, but like I said, the equipment that you use and perhaps the use of these traditional line mages is going to be useful in the future, or in this case, cost cutting. But is it really worth it? I mean, we can throw assets at somebody like a Ned Calhoun and send them off. They're usually pretty greedy, and they can just go off and live their happy life on an island or whatever. We didn't necessarily need to make all this kerfuffle for the masses. I mean, there's some pretty heavy fallout here that we're having to spend some prime capital on.
Well, the main issue, at least in this instance, was that they were already so intertwined with it that really is kind of like we could either spend all this money to get new forces to go send in, or we could just kind of tag along and then kind of steer them in the right direction. Because I don't know if you've been paying attention to what they had done previously, but it was a lot more expensive to cover up because it was a lot more showy. I think they had one fight that involved Spider-Man, and like we managed to convince everybody it was a fire, and things like that. But I think by kind of tying them to us a little bit, we can also reel them in. Um, and then besides that, they were just, we probably would have taken significantly more time to find them and find the Ned if we hadn't had the night hunters help, because they, by the time I showed up, they already had like the full location ready. They just really just went to the bar for a little bit more information, which wasn't useful. But the went to the church because that they already had an image of from Ned that was like, "Hey, I'm here, come here," which is like, trap, whatever. But yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I'll keep an eye on the books here, but I'm not sure if this was a justified expenditure. And he's looking directly at Agent Lewis. At this point, Agent Quinn at the other end pops in, and he sounds almost exactly like Agent Lewis. It's like, I'm more curious about these reality deviants that you're dealing with. Could you tell us more about them? Like, let's start with, do you have any new valuable intel for the one called Anea?
Not a ton. They use a lot of stuff that I'm not familiar with. Because Anea specifically deals a lot with, well, like dimensional science, like the appropriate terms, but they could call it like spirit magic. Yeah. It's just like a lot with that. And we could probably sit down, have a discussion, and I like describe what happened. But I have no way of telling you like this is the thing that they did because it's just way outside of my wheelhouse.
Could you describe for us the general demeanor that they had towards consensus?
In terms of the other one,
I think we're losing you.
yeah, I think I froze there for a second. Was the last part that I said?
I think I just asked my question.
Oh, okay. Well, so and they like it's a lot of stuff that's just not that I really know about. Not stuff in my wheelhouse. They, it's dimensional science. But they kept calling it that spirit magic. And I just like we could sit down and I'll be like, well, there's like this wolf thing and like there were owls. Like that's what the discussion is gonna sound like. It's gonna sound very nonsensical because I don't know what any of it was. Something about like a spirit realm and they move between it. It's like tied to I think some of her technology is like alive, as sentient at least, like different than AI.
This burn box opens up. She's like, "Are you talking about like techno-organic technology?"
No, it seemed more like a possessed thing. Which yeah, I don't like using that type of language really, but it was all seemed very voodoo-y.
They like to mask their skills as magic. Sure, we all know that the reality is that they're altering perceptions.
Well, there were like probably to a degree, but it didn't seem quite like that. Especially, like I would have agreed with you more had Ned not fully turned into an owl that was like the same like spirit thing. Like that's when it was kind of like maybe like I feel like this would be hard to alter perception for, at least without major backlash. Though there were ones that could use mind stuff. I'm pretty sure that when I ate something at some point that was like coated in magic. That was not fun.
Do you feel that you were under any undue influence?
It was very.
Has he been checked?
Yes.
For any influence?
I'm pretty sure I did on the way in.
The scanned, yes.
It was just a thing of like a meddling with the senses for a little bit, not like a full, not like as skillful as what we can do, but it definitely was like an alter the senses type thing. Though I would not be surprised if they had the power to just like fully destroy a mind, just maybe not control one. I don't think they're that delicate with it.
Agent Quinn at the end is like, okay, well, your report does go over some of the Night Hunters here. I just wanted to see if I could get any personal impressions. Specifically, beyond Anea, I am highly curious about. Well, actually, I'm curious about all of them. I've got uh, my own operatives looking into them, but it seems that they have access to some of the more notorious historical figures in the traditions run government, if you could call it that, the organization that they run. Particularly this woman in the commune. Her name was Mabel.
Yeah, that's the one that threatened to like destroy my brain. That was not a good time. That was she's a terrifying woman. A lot of like time disruption around her as well. Um, so they talked a lot about that the fact she would like foresaw some of the events or something, and then they were mad at her because they allowed someone to get captured and used as bait or something. So definitely time magic. Definitely mine. That was oh yeah. She did not take kindly to my existence. Um, just from being from the Technocratic Union, but wasn't like too like she was openly hostile, but not like didn't like attack me or anything. But I think that's more to do with the prophecy than with me.
Okay. Sounds like they have some fourth dimensional modeling practices.
Yes.
Not uncommon. We do the same ourselves. Not always the most reliable, but can be used for predictive models. Um, Strange that they would have any type of internal strife over that, but they are strange people. Okay. That's all the questions I've got. Any more from you? And then Mary's like, yes, actually. Um, there was in your report I saw there was a fourth individual that they went with you. His name was Carl.
Yeah.
And you apparently you saved him from the explosion at the restaurant.
Yeah.
But we're
Mm-hmm.
did he make any? What impressions do you have about Carl and his knowledge of our internal workings? Did he speak to you about anything like that?
Amnesiac for sure in that regard. Um, I don't think they remember anything about their time here. Um, they specifically just had like still a bit of a disdain for Technocratic Union, just a little bit more, I think, fear than anger towards. But they definitely did not seem to know anything about any internal organization.
And no mention of any specific individuals.
No.
Okay. Seems like that's still in play. I have no further interest in this. Um, Thank you for your time. I will stick around for the rest, but I'm not going to have much more to say unless something pertinent comes up. You can continue. At this, you can almost see a little bit of disdain come across the face of Agent Lewis as he is given permission to continue. But it's not enough to stop the meeting. He's like, okay, well, if we have nothing more to discuss with Operative Watts, we can move on to Operative Masood. Please go ahead and inform us of your report. And Nala stands up and she's like, yes, sir. As ordered by my superiors and supervisor here, I was to shadow Operative Watts to ascertain threat levels and to be the failsafe if something were to become of our agents on the field. Was blocked by some form of correspondence effect when attempting to infiltrate this Vashon Island commune, and was able to ascertain the health and safety of Agent Watts on their subsequent missions to the Calhoun Bar and Grill. From there, the tradition aligned mages or magic users were they moved to not northern portion. They went to I'm sorry. Sometimes I don't think Seattle's as big as it is, but they managed to get into a Forester vehicle, and went to the church where the events took place. There was yet an additional correspondence effect preventing my entry into the church, but it does seem that they were able to subdue several guards on their attempts in, and when they came out, they had apprehended the target. It's at this point that the traditional aligned magic users left in their vehicle, and Agent Watts was greeted by a cleanup crew. And from there, my mission being complete, I returned to Construct Gray. The table kind of looks around at each other, kind of nods, and says, "Very good. All right, thank you very much. Any questions for Agent Masood?" There doesn't really seem to be any. It's a pretty straightforward fail-safe report. You were, of course, unaware that she was following.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, Agent Lewis does one final look. He's like, "Okay. Any reports of malpractice or issues with equipment or any of our devices?" And Gadget's like, "Nope. Looks like Operative Watts used everything and every precaution required. There is a bit of a anomaly with the temporal engine, but that's to be expected. It's not unusual when dealing with reality deviants like this that things can go a little wonky there. We'll look more into it, but I don't think we have any issues with our equipment or our surveillance gear. At this point, I think I think we're doing good there, sir." She kind of gives a weak smile, hopeful that this will be over soon. Agent Lewis just threw a couple more papers. Okay, so it appears that we've had a successful mission overall. Operative Watts, since you were the closest there to the events and to these reality deviants, do you think, and this is purely opinion, Operative, you may not have the expertise to truly answer this, but we will evaluate the data, and of course your input will be valuable. But for future operations, do you think it may be prudent to utilize the resources of the traditions to assist in our operations. Meaning, can it save us resources to use theirs?
Well, I just said I'm not exactly an expert in the type of things that they do. So, kind of how useful they will be, especially I'm not super educated on what our version of that resource is. So, it's kind of difficult to make an exact judgment on whether it will be better than what we have. However, I do think that using them can be very useful, um, especially because they do seem to have quite a few connections. I didn't get to fully explore all of them, um, but I think it's worth at least digging into a little bit further.
Very well. And what do you feel about this, Jerry? And Mr. Brannigan, our access to primal capital is superior to the traditions. That being said, in the decade or so since the dimensional anomaly, we have found it more useful than not that we save our capital for truly large issues, and these smaller incursions can be. We can guide these reality deviants to our bidding. It's unfortunate that we weren't able to catch this Ned Calhoun earlier. He may have even been able to be turned into an ally. But he does his sway, however vile you consider it to be, could be great. I think that we are in good shape to further conversations with using these reality deviants to our ends. He then turns his head. Mary Burnvox speaks up. She's like, I agree. And I'm really curious about these owl shards and the physical manifestations that they present. This doesn't seem to be just a simple possession. This seems to be full on genetic resequencing. And I am so curious. I really do want to study these guys. And then she turns to Agent Quinn, and Quinn looks back up at Lewis, just nods quietly, and hits a button, and his hologram disappears. And Agent Lewis looks around and is like, all right, sounds like we have some operations going on. Miss Burnvox and Miss Brannigan, Mr. Brannigan, you will of course coordinate through this office if there's any resources that you require. But the New World Order will give up Ned Calhoun and his followers to you, Miss Burnvox, and we will of course keep our intel fluid with you, Mr. Brannigan. Is there anything else that you would require from us? Nope, I'm done. And Jerry stands up. It's a pleasure meeting you. Puts his hand out to Vesper.
It, like awkwardly like goes to shake it and definitely does like a really bad grasp of it. Like really strong and firm, just not the whole hand.
Yeah. Jerry is full on corporate shrill. His handshake is perfect. As best as it can be given the recipient. Kind of looks over and you can start feeling a little bit of like a mind effect starting to work its way, but it's not a heavy effect. It's more, look at me, I'm important, not invasive into you type of magic. He looks back at the rest of the group, goes to shake Nala's hand, shakes Gadget's hand. It's like, I will keep the three of you in mind. Thank you for your continued service to the Union. Have a good day. And the Wish.com slimy car salesman Hugh Jackman leaves the room, and Miss Burnvox also, she's like, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for your time and your continued dedication to the Union. Have a good night. And she also shuts down. With them out, Agent Lewis looks back. All right. For the time being, Miss Masood, Yadget, the two of you can go. I do have one final private moment I'd like to have here with Agent Watts, or Operative Watts. And they stand up, put their papers in, bow quickly, and head out. Once the room is vacant and it's just the two of you, Agent Lewis leans back, his inhuman stare catches you off guard for a moment. And then as he sits there very still, inhumanly still, almost like he was like a real doll. Then he leans forward. Okay. Operative. If I remember correctly, this was not a mission that was... This was thrust upon you, and you were in the midst of ending your old life. So, to that end, until this gets sorted out, and of course everything is properly gone over and classified, you are, suspended. Not suspended like, for dereliction of duty, just from active duty. You will be free to end your old life, and we will call you back in once everything gets cleared up.
Okay, sounds good. That's good. Is there an expected time frame for that?
Yeah. Normally we don't like it to extend too long, but usually there's nothing unusual about an agent in your position, at least with this more modern and more humane method. We usually see a few months. You'll be afforded the time in standby status, so you can finish up.
Good.
And you'll still be reporting to the construct, of course. I mean, it's not like you're taking time off. You still got a job to do. Just a little bit more leeway in this regard.
Good.
For now.
Great.
So, Operative, there's nothing else?
Nope. Then should be good.
All right. We will we'll be in touch.
Great. Good.
So, Vesper. The Operation Homeguard hunt at this point is now a few months behind you. Ned Calhoun was painted as an evil man and a xenophobic zealot. The threat of his vile doctrine spreading has been largely nullified. Attacks against the homeless population has seen a noted decrease, and your actions have been cleared. You've been evaluated by several specialists, and they have determined that you can return to duty. The How have you spent your time away from the Union? By away, I just mean not actively shooting people.
Definitely putting off talking with the family for as long as is possible. Just not like trying to come up with like perfect timing and like the perfect words to use, but there just kind of isn't one, which makes it harder. Um, though, even though they know they need to, and they do eventually visit home, it just takes a long time. In the meantime, talking a lot with Nala of like for advice and stuff, and that just every now and then just going to like a shooting range and stuff, just clear the head type thing.
Right. For the past few months here, as you've been working with your family to just feel them more than anything, you definitely have been given access to the neuro-optical transmitter, which is the humane way of rewriting people's memories. You work with the union to fashion what the memories are going to change to. So how are you changing your family's memories? And we'll start with your parents. How would you change their view of history?
I feel like there's a very big part of Vesper that just wants to just talk them into just being like, can you just pretend that I never existed? Um, and I think in that um, that it was just gonna change it to they tried to have another kid and then didn't, or it'd be something if they died young, like before they that Vesper died before they went into the city. I think they end up leaning more into like the something tragic happened when before they were going to go off to college, or that they just died out fighting while they were in the army.
So you're leaning into them knowing you existed until a certain point where tragedy struck.
Yeah, because I think they, as much as they want to, like, fully wipe the memory from their parents, because they think that that would be not only like better for them, it would also be safer for them. Um, I think there's just a very big part of them that wants to be remembered in the same way that they're going to remember their parents.
Okay. All right. I'd say shortly after you were able to enact the transmitter upon your parents, shortly after that, you have invited your brother, Jonah, to your apartment for one final solid sibling hang, so to speak. Um, but you do have the transmitter with you, and you have definitely put yourself into the mindset that this may be and should be the last time you spend with your brother.
Uh, Definitely want to spend it as if it was just any other day, um, and not try to make some big spectacular plans for it or anything. Um, because I think Vesper wouldn't want to give off the vibe that something is wrong. So they're probably just at Vesper's apartment, um, just playing video games, probably
Right.
like uh, like zombies or something similar.
Okay.
And then yeah, I think Vesper's still having trouble debating on whether they just like be honest with their brother first and give them the option, um, or whether to just do it.
Yeah. Yeah, Jonah's been one of the biggest supporters of your life, and
Mm.
a little bit of hero worship as well. You've been the big brother to them, um, and they just, they love you to death, um, and they have a idea in their mind that the work that you do with the military, the government, is definitely secretive, um, and they've accepted that. But they also, in the back of their mind, they feel like you might be, you know, like that. That Jason Bourne type, like you just can do anything. You've always excelled at everything that they feel like they should be able to, but haven't been able to. On the flip side of things, Jonah is very personable. He's very likable and doesn't have the same social hangups that Vesper seems to. Um, their own blinders to their unique skill sets. But as you're in your apartment, sitting playing some zombie shooter game, um, having a good time there, Jonah's like, "Oh, this is great, man. I've really missed this. This is fantastic. Did you see what I did to that guy's head? Oh shit."
Uh, I've really missed it too. Um, you know, uh, can I tell you something? I wanna I wanna get your opinion on something.
I mean, okay, yeah. He puts the controller down. I was like, "You all right, bro?"
Yeah, so I know it's a bit of a mood switch, but let's say that uh, something like I'm fine, everything's good. But let's say if something were to happen to me, um, that would force me to like have to go away from the family and everything. Um, like to a point where we would just never be able to talk again or interact. Do you think that it would be easier to have like would you be able to deal with that type of thing, or do you think it would just be easier to just forget? Like do you think that um, I'm not sure how to say it, but do you think that it'd be easier if um, I don't know, like if there was like this emotional distance, but you knew that I was okay, or whether you just didn't have to think about it?
I mean, I mean, I don't know what you. I mean, I know that you go off and you got things that you need to do, and I suppose, I mean, we've always known that there's some risk of you not coming back, but I mean, I'm not sure what you're asking. I mean,
Well, uh, you know how like Jedi aren't supposed to have any attachments. Um, it's a similar thing, although they're much more aggressive about it.
are you
Um,
becoming a monk?
no, uh, no, it's it's so I've already had to um, talk with um, mom and dad about it, and essentially, uh, I had to uh, convince them of sorts that I didn't make it back out of the army, uh, like that type of thing. Like I have to disconnect from past life type thing. Um, uh, so yeah. Um, so I want to at least give you the choice of either um, fully like you can fully like forget about me, or I can just we just never talk again, and you just don't mention me, and I'll tell you the story that they know is fact.
I mean, I don't know how else. I'm never going to be able to forget about you. That's just
Well,
not.
I pull out the neuralizer thing. I said, so if I remember Men in Black, they do like little like look at the light thing. Um,
Men in Black. What the fuck are you talking about, dude?
um, how do I? Um,
I know some strange things have been going on in the past couple weeks. And he points outside. And when you look outside, you can see in the air there is a strange luminal activity. It looks kind of like an aurora borealis effect. Uh, and you've known from the Union that they're on heightened alert and are monitoring these lights. Um, and that they're not behaving normally. First, because they're way too far south and around and above the Seattle Pacific Northwest area. But second, they're also not following the Earth's magnetic field. Um, Seems to be following some unknown pattern. And as far as you're aware, have been informed, the Void Engineers are looking into it, and all other departments are on high alert. And Jonah's like, that's weird shit. That's some weird, like, movie shit, but it's not. Come on, man. You're not a man in black.
well, so I know like it's been all over the place, but um, let me just show you something. Um, and I grab one of the controllers and then toss in the air, and I want to use slow time on it.
Okay. Yeah. Roll your or your enlightenment.
Uh, just what's the difficulty for it? Because it's the one that I know.
Oh, yeah. Okay, let me find that out for you. So time difficulty is 7, and you're doing this in front of a sleeper witness, so it's gonna be 8.
8 difficulty. And I don't get. Do I get any other bonuses for it? It's
So
one.
you would roll your Arete, and the DP mod would be your time, which is 3.
Oh, okay, that's what it was. 3 and then 8, and then hopefully it fucking works. No, it does not.
It does not.
Not in the
You've got
mindset
two
to do magic.
Well, it's not magic. You're trying to produce a temporal effect.
Mhm.
However, you throw the controller up, and it falls straight to the floor, bounces off the hardwood floor. You don't suffer any. I mean, you do suffer 2 paradox. No, just 1. No, I take that back. It fizzled, and sorry, no paradox because it fizzled, and you didn't botch. This was more of a. You got enough successes for it to not be a botch. Thinking about changing that rule. Just because I love botches more. No, but I'm not going to change it.
A botch would cause a magical effect that I think gets the point across.
I think, actually, you know what? You got you got 3 1s. I mean, that's.
Yeah, I feel like I should just take a paradox hit, you know?
I'm going to say that, yeah, this definitely will result in a backlash. So, your attempt to manipulate time in front of your sleeper brother, you can feel the paradox energies growing. You have the opportunity to spend a willpower point and let it come later at the end of the scene, or you could just suffer the consequences now.
I think so. Suffer the consequences now because that was extremely embarrassing and failed to get the point across. And this will at least get something, even if it's going to be significantly more dramatic. Just gonna take it now and use that to prove the point, and then be like, the controller didn't mean anything.
Okay.
We'll just pivot.
So let me. Then because of the botch. Okay, so that is.
Also, significantly larger amount of paradox than I was prepared for.
So when you botch a vulgar spell with witnesses,
it
generates more paradox. Also, this is time, so let me just double check on the time sphere stuff.
Vesper dies having a conversation with his brother. Sort of trying to show what magic does, what temporal distortion is. I think whenever in talking in the context of with their brother, they would just more try and describe it as like magic and such, because it's just easier to describe it that way. Oh boy. That is a 10.
Okay. Well, there's good news and bad news with that. No worries.
Got rid of most of the ones that I just had. However, it's sent back through time and space.
Looking at my. Okay. You go to activate the time slide on your wrist as you throw the controller up the air, and it falls to the ground, hits with a thud, and then the controller flies back into the air, hovers, and then back into your hand. And then it starts, different pieces of it, parts of it start disappearing as if it's being deconstructed from the outside in terms of its life. And all of a sudden, it is vanished. It is taken from time. There in front of you and your brother, you have no explanation for what just happened other than you erased this device from time. You also notice that it's no longer daytime, it's nighttime in this whole apartment. That the time has just skipped forward several hours.
Okay. So that isn't what was supposed to happen, but I think you get the idea.
Holy shit! What the fuck's going on, man? What did you do to my controller?
You can have mine.
What?
Yeah, sorry. Like it was supposed to be cool. Like it falls slower, but not really like at a slower speed. Just a slower amount. It takes more time to fall down. But that happened. I didn't do it right. I'm, big conversation, all that. Yeah, magic that exists. That's why, like, secret society stuff. Like, yeah, that's the type of thing that I'm dealing with. So, like,
okay,
yeah.
So now you're talking. So you started talking about like Men in Black, and now you're talking about some Harry Potter shit.
Yeah, but like, so like Men in Black and like it's like they're similar. It's just kind of like how you use it.
Similar? What the?
Like,
dude, there's a clear difference.
Like
you just made my controller bounce off the floor and disappear, and now it's nighttime. What?
Yeah,
like did you drug me?
No.
Am I on a? Is this a show?
No.
Is this a TV show? Am I being punked?
That would be a lot for a show to get a controller to like disintegrate.
David Copperfield made the Statue of Liberty disappear. I don't fucking know.
That's fair. No. No, sorry. I didn't have much plan for this. But so like crazy stuff, crazy corporations, like even crazier non-corporations that like voodoo magic and stuff like that. Like it's like actually a thing. Like blood for the blood god, like that type of people exist. Like werewolf. I'm over explaining, giving way too much information. But essentially, now that you know all this information and will forever be burdened with this knowledge and incapable of doing anything with it, do you want to remember that in me, or do you want to think I died in a car crash or died in the army? Yeah, I'm sorry.
You don't want to think that you ever died in a car crash? I mean, I don't care what weird shit goes on in the real world. I work on a farm.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's a lot.
I work on a farm, man, and now I'm here. I was playing some games here with my brother, and now I find out that there's controller. Men in Black, and that's fine. Whatever. It's the controller. Where did the controller go?
I don't know. Out of time.
What does that mean?
Back to the Future, like when he like nearly banged his mom or whatever, like that situation. Like he just kind of.
You're not banging my mom. That's our mom.
No, yeah, no, that's not.
God,
like,
I was hoping
the controller,
it would be really ridiculous.
I don't know.
It'd be ridiculous if you went through all this magic bullshit just to explain that you're banging our mom, which there's no explanation for that.
No.
Okay, good.
But no. But yeah, parents already think that I died in the war or something. Um, so
So you
I know I'm giving you a very big burden of choice, but
so you're legitimately asking after did you give mom and dad this choice? Did they
no,
choose?
no, because it's a more difficult conversation with them, and like they wouldn't be able to make that choice, and I don't expect
And
you
you
to
expect
make
me
it.
to?
No, I don't know. I just couldn't do it. So I was hoping that I could just say it really cleanly, but we know I'm not great with words, and like then maybe you would just be out of like I don't know. I don't know what I
Yeah,
expected.
I get it. I mean, I don't get it, but
Yeah, that's fine. Uh, yeah.
okay. All right. So I've never been good about these big thoughts.
I
You're
know.
having me decide,
I know. And
do I want to remember my brother?
yeah, I'm sorry. Is like it's I should have made that decision already, but it didn't feel fair. But it also wasn't fair to mom and dad. But I don't know.
And I'm gonna have to pretend that you don't, that you haven't lived for several years, that we
Yeah,
didn't have this conversation,
yeah,
and that I'm never gonna see you again,
yeah.
even though I know where this apartment is.
I know. I
And
know.
did you say werewolves? No, no, no.
Yeah.
What? Never mind. No, no, no. Fuck it. I don't want to know about that. I kind of do, but no, I don't want to know about that. Is do I have some time to think about it?
Yeah, I was well, yeah. Um just stay here for the night. I was gonna give you a few hours, but we kind of lost them. So
You
if
were
you
gonna
just
do
want
this
to think,
tonight?
no, like I was gonna give you time to think, but I don't have much time because you, as you know, I do. I had this big thing that I need to do, and I choose to put it off because it's emotionally taxing. Um,
Clearly.
and I didn't want to deal with it, so then I shortened the amount of time that you end up having to deal with it. Um, I I have like a technically like a week's time. Um, but like you have to like stay here until you decide. Um, because they'll
In
expect
your
that once
no
you leave.
room studio apartment. Lovely.
I know.
At least you got there.
That's true.
Central air.
But they just expect that once you've left, that like that then it's been done. I think I'm not sure they. Yeah. So yeah.
Jonah stands back up, walks towards the window, and looks out towards the west, past the Space Needle. You can see the lights. It's nighttime now. They're thinking about it.
Uh,
And
yeah.
you have the option. What are you thinking about? Are
Um,
you going to let them make this choice, or are you going to make this choice for them?
I'm gonna let them make the choice. I think they're mostly like they're definitely very stressed out about whatever option they're gonna pick because neither feels good. Of either having them be potentially in danger for it, but uh, it's just yeah. Mostly thinking about just how absolutely terrible that discussion went. Like they thought it was gonna go bad, and they thought they weren't gonna be able to explain everything correctly, but like it went so much worse than they could have expected.
As Jonah looks out at the city, and you watching Jonah, the sky brightens. There's a flash to the west that is nearly blinding, but you can see streaks falling from above, and a massive form shrouded in smoke and flame. And you track it as it hurls towards the horizon, beyond your vision. Something has fallen from the sky.
So you see that thing? I'm probably gonna have to deal with that thing. So feel free. The apartment is yours for a week. I'll probably have to go report in. Um, don't use the closet. There's like you can. There's just some. It's like a mechanism thing that there's hidden stuff in there that you shouldn't get to.
Oh my god, my brother's a secret agent witch.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
Not like
Okay.
Not like spirit witch, just like time. Just distortion. I don't know.
Don't even
I'm
know
not
what that
helping.
means.
I'm not helping. I'm sorry.
The fucking sky is falling, dude.
Yeah, I know it's Chicken Little.
Then a minute later, you hear the klaxons. There are emergency sirens. Even from inside the room, you can hear it. And they're all crying out from every directions. And then you feel the earth rumble. The building itself starts shaking and swaying. More objects falling from the sky, this time closer. Some of them seem to be falling into the Puget Sound. And in the distance, you see the wall of water that is crashing towards the city.
Okay, so I might have lied about the closet thing. Let's grab stuff from there and then let's go get somewhere high. So like I grab my usual equipment, and then I assume that I have like a spare sidearm or something, and I just kind of like tuck that into Joseph's pocket somewhere.
Jonah's like, what the? Okay. I mean, yeah, sure. It's just like the range, right?
Yeah, you know how to use one. You won't need to use it, I'm sure, but just in case, when things fall from the sky, they could be like things and not just inanimate objects. So, I'm not doing great with this, I'm sure, but we should get like up somewhere so that wave doesn't kill us, and then wait for evac or something. Let's just go. Let's just go.
Okay. You head out the studio apartment. Where do you head? Where do you go?
I just go up to the top of the building, to try and get an evac of some kind.
All right. Yeah, you get to the top of your apartment complex, and it's fairly high up. It's not one of the bigger skyscrapers, but it's definitely one of the bigger apartment buildings. It's not. Well, I'd say it's probably. Let's see if the Space Needle's what, 400 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe more. It's like the 5th highest building. It's a little bit below what the Sky Needle would be, but it's not small.
Yeah.
And definitely has way more than 5 floors. Which is ridiculous. You get the Space Needle with no floors. Anyway, you get up to the top, and it takes a couple minutes, but it's enough time for you to get up to the roof and see the wave crash onto the shore. It's like just demolishing parts of the city, just engulfing it all in water. And the wave itself not quite as high as the tallest buildings, but it does flood a lot, and the lights seemingly sway and pulse with this oncoming disaster, and you hear the screams of millions of people in the city as this is affecting them, and there is explosions, and you can still feel the aftershocks, and you can see that there are more waves out in the distance as they are coming this direction. This is the first of those, probably the largest. This is the mega tsunami that could have happened from inside the Puget Sound from the objects that hit there. But there's definitely more going on to the west, and there is pandemonium in the Emerald City. And that's where we're going to stop for now, so that everybody else can experience this wonderful gift of
boy.
natural disaster. But yes, excellent. That was fantastic. Thank you.
No, thank you. That was good. A lot of talking for Vesper. He does not appreciate it, but it was fun. I did enjoy it.
No, that's fantastic. And of course, it's that dilemma. It's like, how far do you pull, on the yoke of your masters? How much do you let them guide you and pull? So, yeah, I'm down with it. I'm liking it. Awesome, excellent. I'm not sure when we'll be able to meet again. Like I said, I've got to kind of do this for everyone to some degree. Things may be shifting in terms of like player dynamics, but that's exciting, and I can't wait for more. This was fantastic. Do you have anything that you want to add? Any notes for the future of Vesper?
Well, for right now, Jonah is gonna be priority over all else. Like even if they try to get sent out on a mission or something,
right,
unless Jonah is in a place where they believe Jonah will be safe,
right,
they're not going to go out and do anything.
That's fair.
Which I'm sure will be a complication. And it's also a thing of like they don't want to leave Jonah anywhere that they think they will be either memory wiped or manipulated, which I think right now might end up leading them with somebody from the commune. Because I think while they think they're very against the TU, they would be against just a regular civilian.
Exactly. Yeah, no, there seems to, one of the things that you have likely picked up is that the traditions have their own protocols.
Yeah.
And their protocols also include protecting the masses. Yeah, absolutely. And with that, let's see, I've added 2 more experience points for today, which seems fair. But nothing game breaking. And over the course of this time, as you've been trained in the use of the neuralizer, I know that's the Men in Black name. Sorry. As you've been trained in that, and as you have spent this past couple months, more than enough time to get that one sphere in mind. So now you've got that added to your repertoire. Yeah, I think that does it. That was fantastic. Thank you very much for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
All right. We'll be in touch. Have a good night.
Sounds good. Have a good night.
All right, bye.
Wait.